Rúben Amorim has finally switched Manchester United into a 4-4-2 formation, a shape that Newcastle and Eddie Howe absolutely struggled with. So what exactly happened tactically at Old Trafford? Without further ado, let's analyze. To fully understand what happened in this matchup against Newcastle, we first have to appreciate just how impactful Amorim's decision to move to a 4-4-2 has been for Manchester United. Because if you remember last season, when we played Newcastle at Old Trafford, we were absolutely overrun in midfield. Joelinton, Bruno Guimarães, and Sandro Tonali all had a field day against Amorim's 3-4-3, a formation that is naturally almost organically weak through the middle of the pitch. You only have two central midfielders, and United were completely overwhelmed. Players like Tonali looked like world beaters. And I think Rúben Amorim has clearly learned from that day, combined with other factors as well, like the fact that we are missing several players who are away at the African Cup of Nations in Morocco. Now, this time, the tactical script completely flipped by playing a double pivot with Casemiro while using Mason Mount almost as a shadow striker operating in and around the front line. Amorim was able to go man-to-man with Newcastle's central players. Guimarães and Joelinton were effectively taken care of by Casemiro and Ugarte, while Mason Mount consistently jumped onto Tonali, preventing him from receiving the ball and severely restricting the time and space that he had in possession. That's actually one of the main reasons why Manchester United, especially in the first half, looked completely safe, controlled and comfortable. Newcastle simply could not generate meaningful progression through the center of the pitch because this 4-4-2 shape allowed United to aggressively man-mark their central players. Add to that Mason Mount's role as the spare man in midfield. He was absolutely instrumental in stepping in to plug gaps, especially against Anthony Gordon, who consistently looks to drift inside and attack those half spaces. Mount was always there, shutting those lanes down. That same trend continued into the second half when Matheus Cunha replaced him. Cunha is an extremely intelligent and, in my opinion, underrated player as a workhorse, constantly scanning, anticipating movement, and cutting off passing lanes. That was crucial, especially because of the double pivot were already occupied, man-marking Newcastle's number 8s. In the build-up and progression phases, Manchester United often looked like they were playing a Brighton-style, narrow 4-4-2 diamond, extremely compact through the middle, with a very flat back four staying wide, while the midfielders and wide players tucked inside close to one another. This narrowness helped United progress the ball with intent from deep, and because so many players were drawn inside, it actually ended up creating large spaces in the opposition channels and half spaces, areas that players like Dorgu and Cunha were eager and very effective at exploiting. There were also moments in the build-up where United deliberately bypassed the midfield altogether. You can see situations where Ugarte is the only midfielder left in the middle, while the team instead creates overloads in Newcastle's defensive third. For example, here, the ball is shifted to the wide left area. United have 4 attackers occupying 4 Newcastle defenders. 2 clusters are created, one on the left with Dorgu and Cunha combining in a 1-2, and another cluster on the opposite side, pinning Newcastle's remaining defenders and preventing them from creating defensive overloads. And finally, this game is a great example of why formations don't necessarily equal systems. A formation is just a rough representation of where players start. A system is about what you actually want to do in different phases of the game. There were several moments where United built up in Amorim's familiar diamond shape. Even though we were, effectively playing a 4-4-2, the 2 center-backs stayed deep, while Ugarte would step into either the left or right half space to form that diamond shape. Casemiro would drop and provide support. This is crucial because Amorim likes using this structure to draw the opposition into a very narrow area of the pitch. Then, with either a moment of flair, a dribble like we saw from Ugarte here, or a distinguished pass, usually from the likes of Bruno Fernandes, United are able to bait and switch, effectively setting pressing traps for the opposition. It's also a perfect example of how Amorim can still play his brand of football even when he changes formations away from his preferred 3-4-3. And this is exactly why I've been optimistic about Rúben Amorim from the very beginning. If you've been following Scarlet Report, for a while now, you remember that in my first video, after Rúben Amorim joined United, I didn't just glaze over his achievements at Sporting. I focused more on his tactical adaptability. I analyzed Sporting's Champions League game against PSV, where they were completely outplayed in the first half. PSV should have scored more, but Amorim recognized his mistakes, changed the setup, and in the second half regained control, and Sporting eventually equalized thanks to Bragança, a substitution that he made in the second half. And that adaptability is what excites me. I want a manager who treats football like chess, someone who sees problems and looks for solutions, a troubleshooter of some sort. And that's exactly what Amorim showed in this game against Newcastle. He understood what Newcastle were about, and he laid out a clear plan to stop them. Now, there will always be debates about how we play, about the football not being, pretty enough. I honestly don't care about that right now. Look, how many players are we missing currently? Look at where this team finished last season. What we need right now are wins. You have to learn how to walk before you can run, and you have to run before you can fly. This applies to life, and of course, it definitely applies to football as well. So I'm absolutely buzzing with the 3 points. Newcastle are a tricky side. Eddie Howe is a very good manager, and they have quality players. So getting the win and moving on to the next game is exactly what this performance was all about. So anyway, guys, I hope that you've enjoyed this tactical analysis. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. There is also the hype button. I don't know if you've noticed, but if you really want to boost this video, it helps the channel massively. So please make sure to click that one as well, and drop your thoughts on the game in the comment section below. Until next time, cheers. Whoa, before you go, I still have a couple of things to say. First of all, guys, Merry Christmas. I hope that you've had an amazing Christmas. I hope that you're going to have an amazing holiday. I'm sure that many of you watching these videos, you work just as hard as I do. Life is hard, life is tough. So it's very important to enjoy holidays, and take some time off to take care of yourself, spend some quality time with the people who matter the most, which is family. So I just wish you all and your families a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And I also just want to say a massive thank you to you guys, because I don't think that there is a better opportunity than doing it, around Christmas and New Year. You guys are the best. I recognize your usernames. There are some of you who have been watching and commenting on my videos for like 2 years now, 2.5 years. I recognize you guys. I know who you are. Sometimes when I talk to my family about my YouTube channel, your usernames come up in the conversation. So your comments are much appreciated, guys. They definitely helped me further enhance my understanding of the game. A lot of you are quite knowledgeable about what you're talking about. The majority of you, I can clearly feel the passion that you have for Manchester United, and how proud you are of being a Manchester United fan. But also your comments have helped me hone my skills as a YouTuber, and have made me better. I have grown, I have evolved throughout the years, and you guys have been giving me the pointers. You've been guiding me throughout the journey. And so I would not really get to this level if it were not for you guys. So I just wanted to say massive thank you to you. Thank you for your support. And again, until next time, cheers and Merry Christmas. Bye-bye.